Please give us a brief introduction.
So my name is Subhranshu Kumar Swain. I come from Dhenkanal district of Odisha. I completed my 10th from Brajnath Bardhana High School and my 12th from Dhenkanal Junior College. I completed my graduation in BTech in Mechanical Engineering from IGIT Saran, and my hobbies are origami and cartoon drawing, and recently also I am learning a new language, that is Telugu.
Okay, fine. So you said that you are basically from Odisha.
Yes sir.
So in last 1 month, can you tell me what is the most important news from your state?
So Odisha is recently organizing the Junior Hockey World Cup, and also there was also one incident, that is the DRDO's information leak. It was one of the case of honey trapping.
Okay. So what are the preferences you have given for the different services?
So first was CISF, second was SSB, third was CRPF, fourth was ITBP, and fifth is BSF.
Okay. Can you give me any reason why you have given CISF first?
So my service preferences were given according to my familiarization with the forces. In my family, two of my uncles, they are in the CISF, so I come to know about the CFA from them. So that's why I gave CISF as my first preference. And as such, I didn't have any preference when I gave the exam, but as there it was mentioned in the DAF, we have to give the preferences, so that's why I gave.
Okay. Can you tell me the roles of these armed forces? You can start with CISF, then go to the other armed forces, ITBP, BSF and all, okay, whatever is there in your exam. Just what is their core area, for why they have been raised, okay, and currently they are involved in what all operations, can you tell me?
Yes sir. So first, CISF is mainly raised for giving the security to the public service units, and mostly recently they are also giving security to the vital installations of India, like DMRC, then airports and other monuments also. And coming to the SSB is guarding the border of India, Nepal and India, Bhutan, and also they are, so can I just,
You can take off the mask.
yes sir. So and SSB, they are the border guarding force between India, Nepal and India, Bhutan, and they are also engaged in many anti-infiltration and anti-Naxalite operations also. And coming to the next, that is the CRPF. They have a all India presence, and they mostly engaged in anti-riots and anti-Naxalite operations in different part of India. And coming to the next, that is ITBP. They are the border guarding forces between India and Tibet, starting from the Karakoram to the Arunachal Pradesh Dipula Pass. So they guard all the 3733 kilometers of India and China border. And coming to the next, that is BSF. BSF was the border guarding force between India, Pakistan and India, Bangladesh, and also they present in different Naxalites area and doing the anti-Naxalites operations also.
Okay, fine. Since you have given CISF as your first preference, can you tell me the motto and the insignia of CISF?
Sir, I just forgot.
Okay, just go through that. From your DF, I also see that you are from an army background.
Yes sir.
Why didn't you have NCC in your school days?
Sir, actually in my school there was no NCC, so that's why I didn't.
Same thing in college also?
Sir, in college was there, but I didn't took it because we have to go in the camps, and at that time I didn't afford to, I didn't balance that time, so that's why.
And your father is serving in the Indian Army.
Yes sir.
Can you tell me about his unit?
Sir, it is Army Supply Corps.
Okay, so then tell me something about ASC and its insignia and its motto.
Sir, and Army Supply Corps basically they help the army battalions in different supplies. Like if it is a war condition, then they supply the soldiers from one unit to another when there is required, and also other things the army required at the time in peacetime as well as also in the war time. So mostly they are engaged in supplying and transportation.
Acha. Okay. I also see that you have tried for Combined Defense Service
Yes, sir.
and you went to the SSB once.
Yes, sir.
So what happened there?
Sir, actually, at that time I went to Bhopal for the SSB, but I didn't get it through because of my communication skills. And in these years, I tried to fill that loophole, and I practiced, and I think I did a better, or I'm improving day by day.
Okay. So you were screened out or you got conferenced out?
Sir, I got screened out.
You got screened out. Okay. That is the only SSP you are given. Suppose you get a opportunity and here you are selected and also you get a call from the army. What are you going to do in that case?
Sir, I will join the CAPF.
You will join the CAPF?
Yes, sir.
You will not join the army?
No, sir.
Okay. What is this Breaking Bad competition? You got second prize?
Sir, Breaking Bad competition is actually one of the competition that was held in our college. In that, the coordinator will give the contestants a thermocol sheet, and in that we have to cut that thermocol sheet according to a dimension of a beam, and then we have to give 7 different points on that, and the coordinator will fix the both ends, and they will add loads, and if the once contestants load carrying capacity will the highest, then he will be the winner, and in that I got the second prize.
How will your engineering skills help you? Suppose you join as a assistant commandant in CISF. How it is going to help you? Your engineering skills, whatever you have learnt in mechanical engineering and all, how that is going to help you?
So in mechanical engineer, I got experience that working in the team and also during the projects, and I think that I can incorporate in as an assistant commandant. And also there are subjects like organizational behaviors, and the project planning is also there. I think that the things that I have studied I can also incorporate in as an assistant commandant.
Okay. ATTK, you can be little bit specific also, that your engineering skills will help in these dimensions and
Yes, sir.
out here specific apna hai kare. Lot of dimensions are there, you can choose and say. So you were also the captain in your cricket team, college cricket team.
Yes, sir.
So same question, how will this knowledge and experience in cricket help you in a career in in the Central Armed Forces?
Yes, sir. So as in captain, we have to face different challenges, like sometimes we have match with tough teams, and at that time different situation occurs and we have to take decisions accordingly. And we also as a team, I know how to manage the team, as I was the captain, so that's why I think that experience also I can incorporate in here.
Okay. So, since your father was in the army, so your education was in a particular place, or you also traveled with him to different parts of India?
Sir, the last he retired from last posting was in Meerut, and he retired in 2004. So after that I come to my village and I studied for up to my 10th in the village, and after that I went into the Dhenkanal college, which was in the city. And after that I went to the Sarang institution. Because of my father's job, I didn't get transferred here and there.
Okay, fine. So apart from Odisha, what are the other states where you have stayed or at least visited?
So I visited West Bengal, the Haldia. That is the one thing. And when I was a child of actually it was 4 to 5 years, I was in the Meerut.
You're in Meerut. Okay. Can you tell me Meerut is historically significant?
So Meerut, in Meerut, the 1947 revolt started from Meerut.
1857, you mean?
Sorry, 1857.
Okay. Acha, your 10th you have done from Brajnath Bardjana High School.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, who is this great person on whom your school has been named and what has been his contribution?
Sir, Brajnath Bardjana actually one of the great author and poet in who born in Dhenkanal, and he was the court poet of Dhenkanal king at that time, and he got famous because of one book, that is Samarataranga. So
Okay, fine. So, and Dhenkanal is famous for another, very famous religion, or you can say a sect.
sir, it is Mahima Dharma.
So tell me something about it and who founded it and why he is internationally famous also.
Sir, Mahima Dharma was founded by Bhima Bhoi. He is also called as the blind poet, but he was not blind, he was uneducated, so that's why people call him blind. And they mostly worship the Sunyata, that is the emptiness. And there is also one of the famous festival of the Mahima Dharma, that is the Magh Mela, which is mostly occurs in the Joronda.
Okay, and he had written something which is internationally famous. It is there in the United Nations also. It is inscribed there. Do you know what that line is?
No, sir, I am not recalling it right now.
Okay, so your state is affected with left wing extremism.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so have you heard about the Samadhan doctrine?
Yes, sir. It's
Please
an
tell me.
8-pillar doctrine in order to tackle the Naxalites problem.
If you can elaborate.
Sir, Samadhan stands, there is a full form of Samadhan, that is smart leadership, aggressive strategy, then, sir, I am not recalling the other full forms right now.
Okay, fine, that is okay. Just go through that, okay? Because
Yes, sir.
since you are from Odisha, they can ask you that. What do you think? What is the main reason for proliferation of left-wing extremism? And let's say if you compare last 10 years, their activities have increased or it has been actually controlled?
Sir, it is decreased in the last decade.
What is the reason? Many say that it is socio-economic in nature. Many say that it is a law and order problem. What is your opinion?
Sir, I think it is a socio-economic problem, because even after decades of independence, there are many regions in the hilly areas that it's still left untouched. Development has not reached at that places, and as we can refer, the Naxalism start from Naxalbari area in the West Bengal, and it was started because of the rampant corruption and exploitation. And that is the main reason of proliferation of the left-wing extremism, and poverty, unemployment, as well as the exploitation by different corrupt peoples. So that is the main reason.
Okay, fine. So you mentioned the name of Naxalbari in West Bengal.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember the initial leaders of Naxalbari? What are the names of those two people?
So first one is Kanu Sanyal, and
Kanu Sanyal and Charu
Majumdar.
Majumdar, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Apart from Odisha and Jharkhand, which are the other states that are also currently affected?
So there are 10 states that are affected. First is Odisha, Chhattisgarh, then Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, then Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and a little part of Kerala.
Okay. Fine. So now let us come to some current affairs. What are the recently, there was what are the important news related to the CAPF, okay, all the forces in last 1-2 months?
So, sir, I am not quite.
Okay, there is some opposition, let me be specific, that government has given some extra powers to the BSF now.
Yes, sir.
What was that? What was that?
Sir, in West Bengal and in the Punjab, the working area of the BSF was increased, and it was 50 kilometers from the boundary towards inside. And in that area, they can search, arrest, and so they can search and arrest in those regions. And because of this, the state governments, they are opposing this as a attack to the federal character of the constitution. They are saying that it's an encroachment to the state police power.
Okay. Only these two states, or Assam is also included?
Sir, Assam is also included, sir, as far as I'm recalling right now.
What is your opinion in that case? That what the central government did, that is correct, or what the states are complaining that is correct?
Sir, I think the BSF should get more power in the border areas specifically, because in these days, in the last 5 to 6 months, we have also facing the problems of infiltration, and in Jammu Kashmir also, as we have seen, there are selective murders, and so that's why, because of the intelligence we are getting, so according to that, we increase the power of the BSF in mostly in the border states.
Okay. So you are interested in sports?
Yes, sir.
What all sports do you play?
Sir, mostly cricket and volleyball.
Cricket and volleyball. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Cricket, what important news in last 1 or 2 days you can give me?
Sir, in the recently in the Paytm series, the India won the series by defeating the New Zealand, and in the ICC T20 cricket also the Australia wins. And recently there was a change in the cricket, that is the word batsman was changed to the batter.
Okay. Why? What is the reason from changing to batsman to batter?
Sir, I think it is because batsman is showing the male gender, man. So that's why they want to be gender neutral. So batter is a word that can be used for both women and the man.
Okay. So this CAPF, they have, do they participate in any operation or any such thing outside India?
Yes, sir. In even peacekeeping missions.
UN peacekeeping
Yes,
missions?
sir.
Okay. Do you know if any CAPF was engaged in India's embassy in Afghanistan?
Sir, it was earlier ITBP, but I'm not sure whether it is right now it is there or not.
Okay. Is SSB involved in counter left-wing extremism operations also?
Sir, in Odisha they are not, but I have heard about Bihar. In Bihar they are engaged in the anti-Naxalite operations.
In Odisha then which CAPFs are involved?
Sir, mostly BSF, ITBP and CRPF.
Okay. Tell me something, one of the previous Director General of Police of Odisha was also the Director General of one of the CAPFs. Can you tell me his name?
No, sir, I am not recalling right now.
No?
No, sir.
Who was the last ODA who was the DG of CRPF?
No, sir, I am not recalling right now.
Just check this, okay, this
sir.
part. That which all people from Odisha, okay, are or were the Director General of CAPFs.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right. So there is a suggestion that the post of Director General of CAPFs should be given to the in-house cadre
Yes,
and
sir.
not to IPS.
Yes, sir.
What is your opinion regarding this?
So I think it should be given to the in-cadre officers because when they are promoting to the higher positions, they take with themselves some experiences that I think in operations that can be worked in real time. But in IPS, so I don't know about their experiences, but I can surely say about the CAPF, who CRPF or the CAPF personnel who are going to the higher positions.
Okay, right. So, suppose the government asks you for some recommendations for better performance and increasing the efficiency of the CAPFs, what recommendation will you give?
So first is anti-Naxalite operations. The CAPFs, they mostly go on units. Mostly one unit consists of 100 or to 130 people. But in other cases, if we see the Andhra Pradesh Greyhound model or Odisha's special operation groups, it is total opposite. They are going in small groups like 30 to 40 members in one unit, and they can adapt, attack and escape when it is required to do so. But in Chhattisgarh case also we have seen when they went in groups, mostly about more than 1000 personnel came and they came into ambush. So that's if the suggestion I will give, so that will be a suggestion that we should in left-wing extremism operations we should go in small units rather than going in large units.
Okay. Have you heard of the term Salwa Judum?
Yes, sir.
What was that?
So Salwa Judum was started in Bastar region, Chhattisgarh, where the local tribal people came up with firearms and they started a fight against Naxals. And there was also one minister, I am not getting his name, he also supported this, and after some years in 2004 I think he get killed by the Naxalites, and the other 100 members who are associated with the Salwa Judum also get killed, and gradually that movement faded out.
Okay. So apart from all this law and order and maintenance of law and order, what are the other activities in today's digital world that the CAPFs are expected to do?
So CAPF is also doing the Border Area Development Program, that is a BADP, and Civil Action Program. In the area of their work, they also develop the region, and they also have a fund of 5 crore rupees which they can use in order to develop that area.
Okay. So can you give me some good examples of how modern technology is being used by the CAPFs in their operations?
So modern technology, if I will say the thermal imaging scanners. Thermal imaging scanners are mostly used in the Naxalite operations, where we can identify the people if they are hiding. Mostly they do the guerrilla warfare, and thermal imaging scanners can be used at that time. And second is the signal interference. They mostly talk in the radio, and if we can interfere their signal, then we can also have a good intelligence. And so we can also use the fighter drones on while in the operations or in many areas also, in order to surveillances also.
Any CAPF which is having its own ARR?
Sir, it is BSF.
BSF has its own ARR?
Yes, sir.
CRPF does not have?
No, sir.
Okay. The Cobra commanders or Cobra battalion is associated with which force?
Sir, it is CRPF.
And what is the full form of Cobra?
Sir,
Commando?
Sir, it's Commando Battalion for Resolute Action.
Okay, fine. Right. So now suppose you have got your posting, okay?
Yes, sir.
And there are 2-3 choices which are given to you. One is you get your home posting. Suppose choices are there.
Yes,
you get your home posting, okay, you will be involved in left-wing extremism operations in Odisha. That is the first choice. Second, you will be sent to, take care of the security in Indira Gandhi International Airport, Delhi. And third, if you are given the task of, joining the border guarding, forces, let's say, which force guards the borders between India and China?
Sir, it is ITBP.
ITBP. So let's suppose ITBP. So which one will you choose and why?
So I will choose the home cadre. That is in the operations in the left-wing extremism in Odisha.
Why? You want to stay near home or what?
No sir, I think I am good at conversating or getting information from the people. So in Odisha, I think I can be more familiar, and in the intelligence collection also I can help. And sir, we also learn many techniques in the training period. So I also want to use all of them in Odisha, and it will be a good environment for me. So that's why I will choose Odisha.
Okay. Have you heard of the initiative by Government of India, Ministry of Home Affairs, regarding Bharat Ke Veer?
Yes sir.
What is that?
Sir, Bharat Ke Veer is one foundation where most of the people they donate money for the welfare of the soldiers.
Okay. And tell me something about the setup, how it is. And suppose I want to donate some amount. So can I donate it to a particular CAPF, or can I even donate it to a particular martyr personally through
Sir.
Bharat Ke Veer website?
Sir, I'm not sure about it.
Yeah, both are possible. If you want, you can contribute to the person also. Okay.
Okay sir.
Anyone who has got, martyred, right?
Okay sir.
So that is the thing. Okay, right. Because you have not joined the uniformed forces till now, as a civilian, as a citizen of India, do you think that whatever the government is doing for the CAPFs, that is sufficient, or you think that something more or something better can be done? If yes, then please suggest what can be done for the the families, and generally speaking for the welfare of the martyrs.
So I think the government is doing good, and they are also making things available for the martyrs also. So I don't sir have any suggestion. The government is doing good.
Okay. Apart from the CAPFs that you have named, are there any other CAPFs? What about Assam Rifles?
So they are the paramilitary forces.
What is the difference between the Central Armed Police Forces and paramilitary forces?
Sir, Central Armed Police Forces are engaged in the internal security, but in paramilitary forces, they mostly assist the military, the armed forces, like sorry, if I would say the army, the navy, or the air force. They assist them, like Assam Rifle, Coast Guard, then Special Frontier Force. Those are called the paramilitary forces.
Okay. You mentioned about Special Frontier Forces. It's a very elite force. Can you tell me something about it? What is the composition of that force generally?
So Special Frontier Force mostly engaged in intelligence collection, and so I don't know much about it.
What is the composition? Anyone can get in, or generally people from let's say Ladakh, or basically those hilly people are chosen for that? Just go through that part.
So I don't have any idea yet.
Okay, well, let us go to one or two situational questions. So suppose your standard operating procedure says that you should not go near some suspicious person or suspicious object, no matter what. So in the evening you are returning, you and one of your fellow officers, you are returning on a bike, okay, and on a remote road you find that someone he has fallen down from his cycle and he is bleeding. Person is not moving, but blood is coming out from his head. Your colleague is of the opinion that we have to follow the standard operating procedure, and we should not, maybe it's a trap or something, it's a, okay, booby trap, for example, bombs are there or something, okay, or it can be ambush or something. So he says that we should not care, and or best thing we can do is we can call and inform. Okay, but in that case, what are you going to do? It seems that actually he is bleeding. It is real blood, and he is very badly injured. Maybe he has hit his head when he fell from his cycle on the rocks. What are you going to do? And as a part of your training, you are well versed with first aid. Okay, so if you give him first aid, at least till medical attention arrives,
Yes, sir.
he will survive. On the other hand, there is a chance that it's an ambush. Okay, maybe it's a dead body or something, and if you touch, maybe a bomb will go off. In that case, what are you going to do?
Sir, I will call and inform, and I will follow the standard operating procedure.
Okay, you'll follow the standard operating procedure.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, suppose during a riot situation,
Yes, sir.
your company is asked to take care of law and order situation in a place.
Yes.
Okay, and you are leading your contingent. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so you see that few young people, maybe around 14-15 years, okay, they are having petrol bombs in their hand,
Yes,
and
sir.
they are getting ready to throw it towards your troops.
Yes, sir.
You have the full authority to order firing.
Yes,
Okay, and but you see them and you come to know that okay, they are like not major, they are minor, 14-15 years. Okay, in that case, what are you going to do? Will you issue orders to fire, or what will be your course of action?
So first thing is we go there in order to stabilize the situation. So I will not fire. It is the last resort. But I will announce with a microphone in order to disperse. And if that will not happen, then we will also have the human barricade in order to protect our personnel from the petrol bombs. But sir, firing will be my last resort.
Okay,
And sir, we can also use many non-lethal weapons like tear gas and pellet guns in order to disperse them, and also the water cannons are also there, who are non-lethal. We can use in order to disperse the mob.
okay. What is your view on Article 370? Do you think that the step which the government took was the correct step, or you think that the situation in Kashmir has actually turned towards the worst?
Sir, I think it's a correct step because sir, because of the 370, there were many things that were undeveloped in Kashmir, and 370 was a bond of contention about it. So now after this 370 was repealed, the investment can be done in the Jammu and Kashmir, and we also have a memorandum of understanding with the UAE in order to develop the Jammu and Kashmir. So there are some law and order situations are there, but still I think we can handle that.
Okay, recently the government has withdrawn the farmers' bills or laws,
Yes, sir.
farm reform laws. What is your opinion? Government has done the right thing, or you think that those laws were reformative and it was good for the farmers themselves? What is your opinion?
Sir, I think it's a good step because the farmers, they are protesting for 1 year, and they think, if the farmers they think that it is not good for them, then I think it's a good step to not impose those laws on the farmers.
Okay. Fine. So my last question would be again a situational question. Suppose you are an expert swimmer, you know rescue swimming, okay?
Yes, sir.
At one time you can rescue 2 adults, heavy adults also. So you are going on a boat, and suddenly what happens, a lot of people on the boat, and there is some jerking or something, okay, in which two people fall down. One is a 10-year-old boy. Okay, he was crossing the river from his school to his home. So he doesn't know how to swim. And suppose other people on the boat also don't know swimming, only you know how to swim.
Yes, sir.
And there is another person who is like a 40-50 man, 40-50 years man, who is having his family consists of his wife and two children. They have also seen their father fall into the river. Okay, now the situation before you is that you can save only one. Okay,
Yes, sir.
not both. Although you are capable of saving both, but you can save only one. Both have fallen at the same distance from you. Okay,
Okay, sir.
both are at the same distance from you. So whom will you rescue and why?
Sir, I will rescue the 10-year-old boy. Because, sir, if I'll go near to the family who are drowning, and I can, sir, swim with only two people, but there are four, and there is a chance.
No. Family is on the boat.
Yes, sir.
Only the male person, their father or the husband, he has fallen. So he has fallen and the young boy has fallen, 10 years. Only two people are inside the water.
Okay.
Other part of the family, they are looking, okay, on the boat.
Okay, sir.
So in that case, whom are you going to save and why?
Sir, I will save the 10-year-old boy.
Why?
Sir, it is because I think he can be a good person in his future, and he also has a future. But I think this man he has lived many years, and there is also for the two childs that his mother is there who can take care of all the two childs of there. But for that one 10-year boy, there was no one. So that's why I will save the 10-year boy.
Okay, fine. So overall assessment of your interview would be more or less you are answering to the point and you are answering quite correctly. Okay, so today we had a discussion overall things. Next interview I'll focus on some factual questions.
Okay, sir.
Okay, some facts about the CAPF. So just go through all the insignia and motto of all the CAPFs,
Yes, sir.
recent things, incidents, happenings, etc. related to CAPF, and also new acquisitions. Okay, like new weaponry and all,
Okay, sir.
which have come to the CAPFs. Okay, so
So mostly it's to the CAPF or the defense or other sense.
both you can do. Both you can do.
Okay, sir.
Okay, both you can do. So points of improvement, your eye contact is good. Okay, eye contact is good, your sitting posture is fine, and there were some grammatical mistakes here and there, but I think that is quite fine. You can't really help it now, but overall I think if opinion based questions are asked, you are giving good answer. Okay,
sir.
So next interview I'll be focusing on the factual aspects. Okay, on
Okay, sir.
constitution, on some factual aspects that we will be doing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.